Alrighty, so today I have Bill here with me with Troomi Wireless, and I am so excited to have you join us today. So tell me a little bit about yourself, about your family, whatever you want to share with me, and what brought you to create the Troomi phone.
Hey, thank you, Dolly. Great to be with you. Um, so my name is Bill Brady, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Troomi Wireless. That's actually not my most important job. My most important job is I've been married for 20 years and have a wonderful wife named Heidi, and we've got 5 great kids. Our oldest is 17, and our youngest is 5. So we are ourselves right in the thick of all of these questions surrounding kids and technology and what do you do and when. We can empathize with every other family in America that's dealing with the same things. Um, so we've been involved in Troomi for the last year and a half. I've actually been in this space of technology for kids for about 3 years, and originally got into this effort to try and find better solutions, safer solutions for families, actually stemming from 20 years that I've spent in the marketing world. Even going back to my time as an undergrad student in university, I was concerned about what I called the dehumanizing effects of technology. And so picture that, 20 years ago or 25 years ago for that almost, that was before everyone had cell phones, and it was certainly before smartphones, and it was certainly before social media. But as a marketer who uses all of these tools, I've watched with a high level of conscientiousness about what does technology really do to us. And as I became a dad, was even more concerned and sensitive about, hey, I don't want to give my kids too much too soon and just have them be living life on the screen instead of living life in real life. So that's really where this all started.
Awesome. So just out of curiosity, where does the name Troomi come from?
Our mission has everything to do with helping kids accomplish their full potential. We want kids to have, energetic, confident, vibrant lives where they can really become all that they want to be, where they can find their true selves, if you will, or their true me. And we took that concept and put a little bit of an invented spin on it and call it Troomi. So there's layers of meaning there.
Wow, I love that. Any of the ones that have listened to me on my podcast for a little while know that I say this all the time, that I feel like the digital space and the digital world that we allow our kids to be in is like robbing our kids of their full potential. It's a distraction, and it's like hindering their exploration of the world and all of that, and being able to find their true self. So holy cow, I love it.
That's awesome. And you touch on a really important point there, and it's a fine line. Certainly if kids only live virtual lives, we're robbing them of everything that is beautiful and good in the world, that the world has to offer, and the true depth of human relationships. On the other hand, there are aspects of technology that are great. The fact that my kids can have a video conference with their grandparents, wonderful. They live on the other side of the country. Recently, my kids did a tour of Jamestown with a docent who had been working at Jamestown for 2 decades. And it was so good that they felt like they were there. And they had this great positive experience with history. So there are some wonderful aspects of technology, but when it gets into just this default for life, if that's all they're doing at the expense of being outside and being in nature, playing face to face with friends, and that's where we really get into problems. And certainly with all the dangers that come with social media, for example, there's some very obvious things to watch out for there that we try and keep our kids away from.
I totally agree. Wow, that is awesome. Like you're like right on the same wavelength as me. When I first discovered that there were what I call them is I don't know if I've said this to you yet. What I call them is dumb smartphones. Have you heard them referred to that in that sense?
Yeah, this certainly this category, I've heard that. What we've built is very flexible, so it's probably less dumb than than some of the other things out there, but definitely a limited experience smartphone. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so let's dive into that a little bit. That was my next topic was let's talk about the actual phone, what features it has, how does it work, and how's it different from the other ones on the market that are kind of aiming for that same goal of limiting access to the entire world.
Yeah. So there's kind of a, if you think of the spectrum of options out there for parents when it comes time to get their child a phone, on one end of the spectrum, you have what I call the Wild West. It's get your child a $1,200 iPhone. It does anything and everything. It could probably launch a space shuttle if you wanted it to. and and we know now, there's an increasing conscientiousness about the dangers of just wide open access to the web, all the content that's there. Um, Certainly the pornographic and violent content. Most people would agree we don't want our kids near that stuff. There's also, however, the dangers that are inherent in things like social media, where you've got this intense comparison culture that robs kids of their self-esteem and their confidence. Social media is where you've got predators and bullies hanging out. And again, as parents, we're learning, hey, it's not worth the risk of immersing our kids in that stuff. On the other end of the spectrum, as an extreme, you've got some options that are completely limited to talk and text only. And particularly for younger kids, hey, that's a great starting point. And I agree, you don't need to give a 7 or an 8-year-old anything more than basic talk or text. The challenge with some of those solutions, though, is that they don't grow with the child. And as we were starting Troomi, our goal was to create an operating system where you could give a younger kid a very limited experience, but then graduate them into increasing levels of responsibility and functionality based on real needs and based on their individual personality and maturity. So that's what we've done. Our phones are Samsung devices, quality devices that kids are happy to use, and they're dependable devices that parents don't have to worry about getting fixed all the time. And on those devices, we've put what we call our Kids Smart operating system. And that's exactly what it does. As I described it, it gives parents the ability to custom fit that device with some very easy, intuitive controls. Custom fit it for an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old or even a 14 or 15-year-old. It would still be relevant to them and the needs that they have for school and for their hobbies.
That is awesome. So as far as like how it grows with them, I saw on your website that it has a parent portal and then GPS locator, and safe listing is where you can put in who can contact them and vice versa, right?
Yeah, and that was very important for us based on feedback we'd heard about, other solutions out there. Picture giving your child something that's completely locked down to talk and text. But if anyone can talk or text with your child, then it might not be as safe as you think it is. So as we were building Troomi, one of the things that was really important for us was to build this concept called safe listing, where you can set that up with different levels of security, but make it so that the child can only talk or text with the people that you designate. For a young child, that might be 10. But then, as that child grows, there might be 30 or 40 contacts, or 75 or 100 contacts. For an older child, you could elect to remove that safe listing altogether. For example, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she knows what to do if she gets an unintended call. She's not going to get pulled into something dangerous at this point. So in her case, I have the safe listing turned off. For my 12-year-old and younger, absolutely, that safe listing is turned on.
Okay, I love that too. How about with the safe listing, like texting, only the people that are on the list can text them?
That's correct.
Okay.
Even in group text, and that was one of the things that we had to build, brand new functionality for. There was no existing mobile device management platform that would prevent having a safe listed text contact not be able to pull in additional people to a group text. That was a way to get around that function. So with our safe listing, even in group text, you've got to be on that list in order to have a conversation with the child.
So then how would it work? Like, say that they have a group of like 5 friends and they have, the access to the entire world phones, and they try to send a child with this phone a text, and some of those people aren't on the list. Is the entire text blocked?
Yeah, so my child, they would not get the text. The rest of the group would, but my child would not get the text from that person that was who's not on their list.
Okay, so like if the main person that's sending it is on the list and then the other people are not, it would just be blocked completely.
I'm not sure I understand completely the question, but yeah, if a person that my child has on their list has started a group conversation, but they've invited people that are not on my child's list, my child would not be able to send or receive with the people not on the approved list. Something that's really important to note, though, too, and this is an improvement we've made as we've gone. We quickly realized that there are situations where kids do need to have immediate access to a person that might not be on their list. So, for example, my 12-year-old daughter was going to babysit for a family who didn't have a home phone, and that family said to her, "Hey, take our cell phone number so that if you need to contact us, you can, and if we need to contact you, we can." Obviously, that's important, right? So we did set up, again, just with making it as user friendly as absolutely possible. We set up a way where my daughter can add that phone number herself in real time and have it be available for the next 72 hours without my having to approve it. That's one of those security levels. For a younger kid, you can have it set so they can't have any access with that person until it's approved. But yeah, for that tween group, we've found it's important that they be able to have immediate access. They've got some judgment, they know what to do and what not to do, but still have that ability to keep the overall approval in my parent portal.
Okay, I like that. How it all kind of grows with them then. Like the features of it, and the parent
Yeah.
complete control.
Another example of growing with them is being able to add internet access. For my 8 or 9-year-old, they probably don't need the internet. But once my kids are getting into 5th grade and 6th grade, certainly by 7th grade, you can't do schoolwork without the internet. Like, that's just not the way our schools run anymore. And so what we developed was what we call our Kid Smart browser, where you can give children access to this browser, and in the parent portal, you designate what sites are available to them. And picture the awesome conversation you get to have with your kids. We've designed all of this to encourage a cooperative, collaborative relationship where you're sitting down with your kids and saying, "Hey, help me understand what you need. Here's where I'm turning on the Kid Smart browser. What are the websites that you would like access to?" And then as a parent, you can look at those sites with your kids and make sure that you feel good about them, and then put them on that list. Then when your child is using their phone and they open the browser, they see a drop-down menu with all those sites that were designated in the parent portal. And those are the only sites they have access to. There's not even a place to search for anything else. There's no search bar. You literally can go to the sites that are in that drop-down menu. So you're able to create a completely safe internet experience for your child, as opposed to just saying, no, we don't do the internet. You don't need the internet on your phone. That's just not practical. That's for a growing kid, that's not practical for the needs they have for school and for healthy hobbies.
I totally agree with that. And that's really kind of the drawback of some of the other options that are out there right now is you reach a point to where I've got my best friend has twin girls and they're just turned 13 and they both have one of the other options out there for a dumb smartphone. They're just like, please, can we have a regular phone? And I can't wait to tell her about this phone as her next step, because I don't think they're ready for the entire world yet, but they're ready for something, for a graduation, so to speak.
That's the right paradigm. We do the same thing with apps, actually. I'm not ready for my kids to have the entire app store at their fingertips. And as a parent, I don't have time to go and vet every single app out there that my kids might want. So what we've done at Troomi is, again, it goes back to that great parent portal that we've built. We've curated and vetted a suite of apps that are available for parents to put on the phone. There's no app store on the phone, so the kids don't see an app store of any kind. But inside the parent portal, I can look at apps for school, for hobbies, for music, for creativity, for spirituality, all those different categories. And then I literally just go click, 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 choose the ones I want, and in a matter of minutes, they appear on the phone. And what parents love is that if we have put those apps in our collection, they can have a high degree of confidence that we've gone through the vetting process to make sure there's no inappropriate content and there's no back doors for creeps to get at your kids. Some of those apps include, the most popular digital classroom apps: Google Classroom, Canvas, Blackboard, Skyward. We've got apps for music streaming in there: Apple Music, Spotify Kids, iHeartRadio Family, Amazon Music. So if you're comfortable, and some parents are and some parents aren't, and it's your choice. If you're comfortable with your kids having access to a streaming service, then they get to have that on their phone.
Okay, that's awesome too. Everything about this has been awesome so far. How about the other thing I wanted to know is, for when they're younger, or if you have the choice, is a parent portal set up to where you can say what they have access to at certain times of day, like putting it in modes for like study time, that type of thing?
Yeah, the way we've built that right now is for any function or any app, you can build the window of time when that's available. So for example, we have a daughter who loves audiobooks. And there's an app on the phone called Libby where she can, get digital audiobooks from the library. Well, without a restriction on there, we would be wrestling with her all day on that. So we have it set up so that app is only available after school. And it turns off before she goes to bed. Otherwise, she would stay up all night. So you can set that kind of functionality with any app or frankly any function, including the calling and texting.
Okay. How about what are the options for like the plans and the type, is it the same phone for all the plans and you just choose the different plan that you pay for?
That's exactly it. We have a couple of Samsung devices, the Samsung Galaxy A12 and the Samsung Galaxy A32. Those are the two phones that we've started with. They both have phenomenal cameras. The one has a 16 megapixel camera and one has a 48 megapixel camera. The reason we wanted to do quality devices like that is because pictures matter to kids. If they're going to take pictures, they want them to be good. They want them to be good quality. So we've gone that route and used good devices, not expensive devices, but enough quality that the picture quality isn't compromised. When it comes to the plans, first you choose your device, and then you choose which plan you want. Unlimited talk and unlimited basic texting is $14.95 a month. So very, very affordable. If you want to change that to group text and picture texting, the cost increases to $19.95 a month. And if you want to add the Kids Smart apps and the Kids Smart browser, it goes to $24.95 a month. And those are all truly unlimited plans. We're not just pooling a big block of minutes and data and hoping it's going to work out. It's truly unlimited for every user. And those include calling to Canada and Mexico as well. So great plans at a very affordable price. And the two phones, I should mention, the one is $179.95 and the second one is $279.95. So again, we've tried to keep those at prices that make sense for kids. I've never thought it was a good idea to get my kid a $1,200 phone. I just don't think it's necessary.
Kind of crazy that was the only option when my kids were young.
Yeah, thank goodness there are more options now.
Thank goodness. Holy cow. I always mention this on my podcast, that having these options is truly such, like, I call it a mother's gift, but a parent's gift.
Yeah.
Because it's just, there's so much out there. And unfortunately, my youngest is 16 and my oldest is 23. They were in this middle school age when none of these things existed. So
okay,
I'm so thankful for the next generation to have this option.
That's great.
So I think I've covered all of my questions that I had for you. Is there anything else you think is pertinent for us to talk about, or anything else you want to share?
Yeah, I just think of the whole philosophy behind, kids and safe devices. This might be another place where we're different from some of our competitors. I think kids are inherently good. They're inherently, they want to do what's right. They want to be successful. It's our job as parents to guide them and to give them some guardrails when they need the guardrails. But I've always thought that approach of just saying to a child, hey, I'm locking you down to talk and text only, kind of sends the wrong message. It almost feels like a lack of trust to me. And I think the phone has, yes, of course, it's got to keep them safe today. That's a given. But it's also going to prepare them for the future. It's also going to give them access to good content that would help them in school, content that would help them develop healthy hobbies. And certainly by the time they leave home, they've got to be disciplined, responsible users of technology, because technology will be part of their lives. So I think we do them a disservice, if we say, hey, I'm locking you down to talk and text only, and as long as you live in my house, that's all you're going to have. I don't think that's the right way to go. So our goal was to create a positive, healthy relationship between kids and parents, give the kids the guardrails they need, give them technology that's appropriate to their age, but you've got to help them develop, some of that discipline and responsibility on their own. All the while keeping them away from the pornography and the predators and stuff, but they've got to learn how to use apps and learn how to use the web.
I totally agree. Like, it's just kind of setting them up for success versus sending them down a dark, like I call it the deep blue sea often, like sending them out into the deep blue sea without any flotation device, never taught them how to swim, but go out there and then I'm going to be mad at you all of the time for, not knowing what you're doing.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah. So was there anything in your, if you're willing to share any of this, was there anything that happened with your kids that made you more aware, that brought you to the awareness of the threats? Or was it just that past experience that you had that you mentioned? In your,
Yeah, we've been very, very fortunate in that we haven't had any of the really, the really dangerous stuff happen with our kids, partly because we were always very cautious. We didn't just say, hey, here's your Wild West phone. We've always been pretty deliberate about it. um, I've had numerous friends, and especially while I've been in this space, numerous friends tell me just some harrowing stories of situations their kids have gotten into, um, some extremely dangerous situations. In a couple of cases, I've said to my friend, hey, you know forgive me for if this is too personal, but why on earth did you not have that phone locked down with the right parental controls? And on more than one occasion, the person has said to me, I thought I did. And some of the controls that have been available to this point are so hard to use, so complicated, so hard to stay on top of, that parents don't know what really is set up correctly or not. Or in some cases, the kids are so smart they get around the controls. And for that reason, we didn't build Troomi as a piece of software that just gets added to the phone. It's the operating system itself. You cannot, a kid can't get away from it. They can reboot the phone. They can go on and off different networks, whatever they want to try. That operating system is always there. And so we've built it with that level of conscientiousness. Hearing some of the other stories that are out there.
So that brings up another question I wanted to ask you, is about like the parental control apps that are out there that are real popular. I don't see that one of those would even be needed. Is that something that's an option that can be added to it, or do y'all have that capability on it? Like the ones that monitor what texts are going out and kind of tell you what the kids have been doing as far as activity goes.
Yeah, great question. And there are some good apps out there. They're not infallible, but there are some good apps for most, for a lot of situations. Our goal was to make them less needed. So, for example, with our operating system coming very, very soon, in our next big release, you'll be able to remotely monitor all of your kids' texts right in the parent portal. You won't have to say, hey, let me look at your phone and look at your text. All of that monitoring will happen right in the parent portal, with some pretty advanced functionality as that gets built out, for alerting parents to potential problems and inappropriate language or inappropriate pictures or language that sounds like, hey, this could be a bully or a predator, that kind of thing. And of course, that's something that's going to improve as we continue to build it over time. But the first release of that is coming very soon. But the other side of that is the need for monitoring everything goes down dramatically if your kids are only talking to people that you've decided that you trust, and if they're only going to websites that you have pre-approved. I mean, just the whole need goes down dramatically. That's not to say that in the future we won't have some kind of a partnership with with one of those companies. We may do that at some point, but certainly right now the need doesn't exist like it does if you're on another phone.
Right, I get that. So when you when you're gonna, so right now, the parent portal doesn't have where it shows the text. Did you say y'all are adding that?
Yeah, that's coming in our next release, our next big release of the software. So literally a matter of weeks.
Okay. And then with that, you can basically just see like a running list of what their conversations have been.
Running list, and then we're going to add some filters that allow you to see, hey, your kid talks to these people. Here are the top 5 people they talk to the most. And if you want to dig down on any one of those people, just click that, and they're the text with that person in particular. You'd be able to see in that dashboard hey, here are the text messages that were flagged for potential inappropriate language or bullying language. All of that will be there. And also note that in the parent portal, you'll see everything. Whether or not a text has been deleted, it's still showing up. You still see everything. It's all collected there.
Okay, so then you're hitting some of the high points of things that I often mention as places where things slip through. And that's like
Yeah.
the sheer volume of text that can go through between people. A parent can often miss the conversation or, something that they should be aware of. And then just the filter of the conversation. So that's good that y'all have that in the works and plan for that. Cause I know I missed things that I shouldn't have missed, but it was because now it has been because of one of those filter systems being put on my son's phone and being able to be alert of things. Now it picks up silly things like his conversation with his grandparents, and who's going to bring the gun and other things like that. But like when they're going to go hunting and stuff, that sounded really bad.
Yeah.
But like when they're talking about stuff that I'm aware of now, but it'll pick up on little things like that
Yeah.
in the context of being with a friend may be something that I want to know about. So
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and better that you get over alerted than under alerted. Better that you better to have a false negative than a missed positive.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that's everything that I had unlisted that I wanted to ask you about. Anything else you can think of that you want to share?
No, I think that's it. Happy to invite people to come check things out. We do a lot on social media and a lot on our blog by way of help, trying to help parents really get through some of these questions that they have relative to parenting around technology. So on our website, it's troomi.com, TROOMI.com. Go to our blog there and you'll find a lot of great content to help with some of these questions. And then on Instagram and Facebook, we are at Troomi Wireless.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on today and sharing all of this with my audience. I think this is going to be super valuable, and I'm very excited to get this out into the world, into more hands of parents so they can help their kids be their true selves. That's really awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dolly.